Ms. Friedman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair Webster and Ranking Member Titus, and for the witnesses for coming here today. Unfortunately, California is no stranger to natural gas transmission pipeline disasters. 15 years ago, of course, we had the explosion in the San Bruno neighborhood in Northern California, where several people were killed and 47 million standard cubic feet of natural gas was released. I believe 8 people were killed and about 38 homes were destroyed, and we all still grieve for them in California. And closer to home for me in Los Angeles, thousands of people are still suffering health impacts because of the leak at Aliso Canyon. So the question is, are we now safer since San Bruno? And have we put into place everything we need to keep our community safe? And I believe the answer is no, because the last 2 years have been the deadliest 2-year period for pipelines since the San Bruno explosion. In the past 2 years alone, 30 people have tragically lost their lives due to pipeline safety incidents. And I hope to work with the subcommittee, with everyone on the subcommittee, to develop robust standards to prevent these disasters from occurring. Now, LA has a high number of liquid and natural gas pipelines through very densely populated areas, including in my district in Glendale and Burbank, Los Angeles, and Pasadena. During the LA fires, we saw a lot of ignitions happening at the homes that were impacted by fire because the natural gas pipelines in the natural gas in the homes was on fire. Now, I toured the Eaton Canyon area 1 and 2 and 3 days after the fire, and those plumes of natural gas flames came up from thousands and thousands of homes. In fact, there were victims walking around their former homes looking to collect their personal items, trying to navigate around 7-8 foot tall walls of flame in their houses because those natural gas pipelines were still on and they were still on fire. And I saw ignitions 2 days later happening because of winds pushing those flames around. So my question for Mr. Taylor is, what did your members, what steps did they take during those fires to minimize that kind of incident? And why were should those ignitions still been happening 2-3 days after the fire? How do we make sure that we don't have the public walking through these burn areas through their homes while they have to navigate around very intense flame plumes, I don't even know what to call them, coming out of their former homes?
Yeah, so thank you, Congresswoman, that specific type of fire and that specific type of instance would be tied more towards the distribution system. And so, again, from a transmission side, we could potentially isolate, don't know the specific details of all the situation there and how that gas is being fed to that exact location in the areas you're speaking of, but that would be more of a distribution type focus, distribution type question on how they could potentially isolate those areas.
Okay, and just so that you have it in your head, we're talking thousands of homes, an entire, more than one neighborhood. So not just one house at a time, but you had entire neighborhoods that were impacted by this. Mr. Taylor, as you know better than me, fire valves are inexpensive spring-loaded valves that are designed to melt before the pipeline fails, sealing the pipeline and preventing natural gas from fueling fires in these kinds of incidents. Why is it important to install fire valves in gas distribution pipelines, especially for communities like we have in Los Angeles that are fire-prone and earthquake-prone, just disaster-prone in general?
I don't know if you're asking me or Mr. Caram, but
whoever, yeah.
Yeah, so again, from our standpoint, that would be more distribution focused. We wouldn't have that type of application for transmission pipelines, but it would make sense for distribution. I'll let Mr. Caram answer the question though as well.
Yeah, thank you for that question, and I'm so sorry about the devastation in your district and around your state. And yes, what you're talking about is on the distribution systems, which are the service lines that go into each home and building. And you can install these fire valves on service lines very easily. And they have a low melting point polymer that holds the valve open, and when they're exposed to heat, that polymer melts and the valve automatically closes. Because we see in times of emergency, it's often difficult and it takes time to shut off the valves around a system on a distribution system. And so these would, in the case of a fire, whether it be a home fire that started, in the kitchen and spread, or if it's something more widespread like a wildfire through a community, these could mitigate the extra damage caused by the gas service to the homes.
Thank you both for your answers, and I yield back.